Welcome back. Signalgate is in full swing in Washington and is exposing the hackery of Washington, D.C. Team Trump is in campaign mode. They're going scorched earth. And to be fair, they should be on defense. A number of Trump's national security team added a reporter to a group text chain about bombing Yemen. And Fox News is right there with them, attacking Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic magazine, who got the scoop.
The guy's a total sleazebag. The Atlantic is a failed magazine. The person that was on just happens to be a sleazebag, so maybe that's just coincidence. I don't know. I will tell you this, that they've made up more stories, and they're just a failing magazine. The public understands that.
This story is not made up. The White House admitted it's true. Democrats and the rest of the media view this as their first opportunity to score a scalp, and they do not care whose.
Now the debate among national security professionals is over whether the secretary was just incompetent or whether he was drunk.
It is by the grace of God that we don't have dead pilots or sunken ships right now.
Oh, spare me. That's absurd. There was no chance of that. It's not by the grace of God that there are not dead pilots. Lost in the hackery is what's good for the country, what actually makes America safer. Novel thought, I know, but since this is a national security scandal, let's just spare a minute and talk about national security rather than politics. That's our Why It Matters memo tonight. National Security Advisor Michael Waltz is a good man. He is an honorable man. The country is safer with him on watch, and full disclosure, he is a friend. Yet Democratic senators and hardcore MAGA want him gone. That's interesting. Two completely separate groups. Therefore, he must be doing something right. Waltz is allegedly the person who added Jeffrey Goldberg to the group text about plans to bomb the Houthis in Yemen. So just to clear up a few things, these are facts. They are undisputed. The Houthis are terrorists who deserve what they are getting. Waltz, the vice president, the secretary of defense, and others should not be using the same encrypted messaging app I do to discuss bombing plans. Someone screwed up and added a reporter. It's dumb, a colossal error, but no Americans died. No secrets were compromised. Yet, Democrats see an opportunity.
Sloppy, careless, incompetent behavior, particularly towards classified information.
This incompetence, this disrespect for our intelligence agencies and the personnel who work for them is entirely unacceptable. It's an embarrassment.
This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error.
There ought to be resignation, starting with the National Security Advisor and the Secretary of Defense.
Democrats could spare us all some sanctimony. 13 American service members died in the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. They were murdered by a Taliban suicide bomber. And none of these senators wanted the National Security Advisor to resign. Jake Sullivan committed mistake after mistake, one of which cost 13 American lives. No demands for resignation. But that's okay. This is politics. This isn't about national security. They want Waltz's scalp. And the hardcore MAGA types also want Waltz to resign.
This is a major screw-up. There is no other way to put it. And the screw-up is allowing this guy to be put in, and Michael Waltz doing that.
If Waltz resigns, it takes the heat off Pete Hegseth. Hegseth allegedly shared bombing plans and other classified information on the chain. Hardcore MAGA loves Hegseth. But Waltz is perhaps a little too honorable for them. He's a former Green Beret, member of Congress. He quit his job in Congress to be National Security Advisor. He possesses moral clarity on Russia, moral clarity on the Middle East, Iran, and China. That is rare inside the Trump administration. So Waltz is stuck in the middle. A good man, which makes him a rarity in Washington. And today he did something that very few people in Washington ever do.
Well, look, a staffer wasn't responsible, and look, I take full responsibility. I built the group. My job is to make sure everything's coordinated.
And here's the kicker. Goldberg, Senate Democrats, the rest of the media that want Waltz gone, claim to be doing it because they care about America. Well, Waltz is the single best bulwark against MAGA's worst instincts on Russia. Maybe they want Trump to fire Waltz and appoint Tucker Carlson as national security advisor. This group claims to care about the country, but by their actions, they only care about scoring political points. Mike Waltz is a good man. Maybe he screwed up. Maybe he didn't. We don't exactly know how Jeffrey Goldberg's phone number ended up in his phone. But this is unquestionably true. America is safer with Mike Waltz on watch. And this scandal is exposing everybody in Washington for exactly what they are. Michael Isikoff's with us, investigative journalist, contributing editor for Spy Talk. Batya Ungar-Sargon, columnist for The Free Press, author of Second Class, How the Elites Betrayed Working Men and Women. Michael, I understand the desire to jump all over this. We said yesterday, we will say again, this was clearly a mistake. But I see sort of a stunning lack of continuity and a stunning amount of hypocrisy from Democrats who suddenly seem so concerned about national security and were so unconcerned during the Biden administration.
So, look, you acknowledge this was a serious mistake. I don't know which words that the Democrats use, sloppy incompetence, utterly unprofessional, you would dispute. That seems to fit the facts here.
All of them. But this is my question to you.
And so
isn't it more important? Isn't it more important to keep Mike Waltz on the job?
Not until we know what exactly happened here. Who put Jeffrey Goldberg's name on that chat, on the Signal chat? We don't know.
Waltz said he did.
And what's that?
Waltz said he did. He made a mistake. And I guess my question is why?
Vittert is a staffer. He says he doesn't even know Jeffrey Goldberg. He has not been in communication with him. So somebody who was in communication with Jeffrey Goldberg put his name on that Signal chat. And you know, I think the first order of business, and I don't know why the FBI isn't already in the case, interviewing everybody in the White House and the National Security Council to find out who did it, why, what they were thinking, and, you know, get to the bottom of it. We're not to the bottom of this. There are a lot of unanswered questions. And so I don't want to whitewash anything or defend anything until we know exactly what happened.
Fair enough. I think reserving judgment's always a good thing. You know, Batya, Donald Trump today sort of not only went on offense against The Atlantic, but he said that this is not a story the rest of America cares about. He thinks we should be talking about what is going well for his administration. Here's Trump on the positive news.
For the first time in like 50 years, right track, wrong track, we're on the right track. Egg prices have come down 45–50% in the last week and a half. Gasoline's way down. Eggs are way down. Groceries are down very substantially. But you're going to see billions of dollars, even trillions of dollars coming into our country very soon in the form of tariffs.
Donald Trump was also hired, though, because he said, I'm going to pick the very best people, right? And is there an issue of competency that even when other things are going well, what, irritates the American people, scares them a little bit?
Look, I agree with everything you said, Leland. Obviously, this was a catastrophic screw-up here. I think a lot of people, though, can easily put themselves in Mike Waltz's shoes and imagine themselves doing something, you know, and being embarrassed in the same way that he is right now. There have been things that have come out that have made me feel a lot better about it. What CIA Director Ratcliffe said about Signal being approved for people who are in the CIA, I did not know that, and it changes things significantly. He said it was a staffer. I think, Leland, that you said that they're going after Mike Waltz because they're trying to protect Pete Hegseth. I actually think that they're going after Mike Waltz because they're trying to protect JD Vance. I think President Trump has a lot of sympathy for people who are loyal, who make mistakes. But recall what was revealed that JD Vance said. He said, I am not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. That I think Trump might have read as seriously undermining him. And so I was not surprised to see JD Vance suddenly shipped off to Greenland. I'm sure he does not want to be anywhere near President Trump right now. And to see President Trump coming out in support of Mike Waltz, I think really reiterates this idea that your previous guest, Dan Turrentine, mentioned on the morning meeting a few days ago. You know, there's only really one sin with Trump that's utterly unforgivable, and it's disloyalty. Somebody making an error, even one of this magnitude, there has to be grace. Yeah.
Yeah. Michael, in terms of what we know about this and where this story is going, I think you're right that we don't know where this story is exactly going. As a investigative reporter, put on your hat. The parsing of words, both by Jeffrey Goldberg, by Michael Waltz, by other members of the administration, tells me that we have not yet gotten the whole story here.
Yeah, a couple things. Yes, Radcliffe did say Signal can be used by CIA officers for certain matters, but they must any actions they take, anything that is government business, must be archived. Signal is not archived. You send a message, you can have it disappear. You know, there's something called the Federal Records Act, which Hillary Clinton brazenly violated when she became Secretary of State. She was using a personal account to conduct government business. That's what set off the whole Hillary Clinton email fiasco, right? And everybody, many of the people on that chat were quite vocal about Hillary Clinton's discretions. They were doing the exact same thing. They were using personal Signal accounts.
Yeah, I made that point with Bill O'Reilly last night.
What?
Yeah, no, I made the point with Bill O'Reilly. I'm going to give you guys each the last 30 seconds, but ask each of you to keep it to that. We have seen this happen before with Donald Trump, that when he is attacked in this way, and when MAGA world, and even sort of center America, feels it's unfair. I'm thinking the Russia collusion thing that turned out not to be true. When the media runs with a story like this, I'm thinking about some of the investigations into him that didn't pan out, and the indictments that seemed just so overplayed. It actually has the reverse effect. It makes him more popular. Michael, first, 30 seconds. Is this going to be that same kind of story?
No, because I think most people realize, certainly intelligence professionals realize, this was a serious lapse. If it had happened to them, if they had done this, they would be under investigation. They would be facing disciplinary action. And when they see the top people in the government doing what they would be punished for,
it makes them angry.
They are quite upset about it. And so, yes, the American public writ large may not care that much, but the people who we rely on for the security of this country care very deeply about something.
Batya, you get the last word on that.
I think you're right, Leland. This is already, to me, getting the feel of sort of an overblown story. And the way, as you pointed out in your monologue, the way that the Democrats are jumping on this as their opportunity because they have nothing else with which to fight this very popular president with a very popular agenda, it really kind of rankles a little bit. I don't think they're going to come out of this unscathed either.
Well, Elon Musk is certainly a happy fella that the focus is not on him this week. Thank you both, Michael, Batya, as always. We first wrote about this in War Notes. More on Michael Waltz in War Notes as well. That's your chance for an inside look at the show every day. It is free. Warnotes.com to subscribe. You will be delighted and smarter when you check your email at 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.